Hey guys, so I decided I was going to vlog again, and this time, as you can see by the title, is how mothers don't always know best. And I mean, they try their hardest, they do the best they can, just like everybody else, but they don't know what's going on with you as much as you do. I'm going to use my parents as an example. Well, my mother. I don't really have a father figure in my life. But my freshman year, I was running cross country, and for about 2 months, I was complaining about a really, really bad pain in my hip. You know, it hurt really bad every time I ran. And, you know, my mom, oh, it's just growing pains, you know, walk it off. So I kept running, and I kept running, and it kept hurting worse and worse, and I kept telling her, and she would not believe me. And so, one day at practice, I was walking it off, and I ran as hard as I could, and I just collapsed. It hurt so bad. And then the next day actually, that day after practice, my mom came to pick me up, and I couldn't walk. And then she finally decided, maybe something's wrong, you know, wait till I can't walk. And even then, she didn't want to necessarily take me to the hospital. What she decided to do instead was to take me to a therapist that I had a while before, but I hadn't gone to in months. It was one to help me relate to the new town that I was living in, because I moved from the city and they were worried I wouldn't make friends. And my therapist, word for word, she knows her body better than you do. If she says something's wrong, then something's wrong. So I told my mom I needed to see the doctor, and I did, and I had a fracture in my hip, which is common for girls my age who run. It was a stress fracture. The muscles in my hip flexor area got so tight because my coach didn't stretch me very well, apparently. And so they got so tight, and they kept pulling on each other, and I walk it off, just pulling them tighter until my bone snapped. So, I was out for the season when I could have just been out for a couple of weeks. Honestly, not that I really cared. I hated cross country. I did it because I was too late for volleyball tryouts. Sophomore year, I was playing basketball, and this girl, she tripped me while I was playing. I hit the gym floor right here. People heard my head hit the floor from outside the gym. I got up and I finished playing the rest of the game. I don't really remember it. I was told that all I remember being on the ground and tilting my head up and seeing a pair of shoes, and that's it. I remember missing my first free throw and making my second and running back to play on defense, and that's all I remember. And, I didn't show any immediate signs of a concussion. I didn't cry or anything. So they just let me keep playing. And then when I went home that day, my coach came inside and told my mom, your daughter hit her head while she was playing. I would be careful, watch for a concussion. My coach left, and my mom's first reaction, how dare he come in my house and tell me to take care, watch out for my daughter. He was warning you. You don't always know best. Things happen when you're not around. And that was the week of finals sophomore year, and I had memory loss and I couldn't focus. And my mom finally decided, hey, maybe I should take her to the doctor. And I had a mild to severe concussion with amnesia. And that's because the day after, since my mom didn't think I had a concussion, she let me go in and play the game. And God, it was a tournament, and the way that the audience described that game was a JV football game. And just because the girls were so violent and it was so physical. And I played the entire game. I actually got MVP that game. And it was honestly probably one of my better games. Probably because I wasn't thinking about what I was doing. But I remember, the only thing I remember from that game was we were already winning by about 2 points, and the whole concept of our Hail Mary play was don't let them get a basket. And so we had one of our girls chuck the ball as far as she could down court, And I was the one who got the ball down at the end of the court, and I went to make a layup, and I went up, and this girl plowed into my side and threw me into the wall, where I slid down the wall like in the movies. And everybody's reaction, like, they all just stood up like, oh my god, is she okay? Because they knew I hit my head yesterday, and I didn't move for a minute. And I got up, and I made 2 shots. I missed the first one, made the second one again. And, Mom was like, it's really dangerous. Even the doctor said, she should have came in for a concussion, the next day. It was really dangerous for her to play that. And Mom just kind of shrugged it off. Last year, I was in track. Basically, it's what I vlogged about in my past video. I compressed my spine, and my mom told me it was no big deal, just to take a couple days off and rest, and that, if it, it'd feel better in a couple days, and if it didn't, we'd talk about seeing a doctor. Well, I started, really worrying about it, and so she finally took me to the doctor, and I had a compressed spine, and she was talking about, oh, I wouldn't know what to have done if something like worse was wrong, or if you'd gotten even more hurt, and I wasn't going to take you to the doctor. And so she kind of worried about that, and she's like, oh, I would have been so mad at myself. And then this year I had this super bad cough. It wound up being bronchitis, and I had it for 6 months. And for that 6-month span, my mom just told me to walk it off. And then it went away for a month, and then it came back for 4 more months, and Mom told me to just walk it off. And then I was just driving home one day from seeing my boyfriend, and this part of my face just started to fall asleep. And it started tingling and going numb, and then my left arm went numb and started tingling while I was driving. And I didn't know what it was. I kind of blew it off. And then the next day I was just sitting at school. My left arm falls asleep again. My legs fall asleep. They start tingling, they're numb. I tell my mom, like, Mom, something's wrong. I don't know what it is. And she told me, it's nothing, it's no big deal. I'd be sitting with my boyfriend, just at rest. My legs would fall asleep. My chest would start tingling and going numb. My face would go numb. I couldn't move my fingers. It always started with my left hand. I don't know why, but it did. And then one day I had came home from practice, and I was like, I'm gonna take a bath, see if I can get my my body to wake up, because my body's just so tired. And so I got in the bathtub, and the first thing that happened was my head started to feel really light, really lightheaded, and I felt nauseous. And then my left arm fell asleep, and my right arm fell asleep, and my torso fell asleep, and my face went numb all the way up, and my legs went numb. And I managed to be able to Skype my mom. I said, Mom, I need help getting out of the bath. I can't move. I feel like I'm going to pass out. I need help getting out. And, she came in, and I had drained the water, and I was trying to move my legs out from the position that they were in, and they wouldn't move. I couldn't get myself out of the bathtub. And so she assisted me in getting to the bed, where she gave me some food and had me lay down, and she came back in a half hour later and asked if, I was feeling any better. And I was like, I told her my face wasn't numb anymore, but I still couldn't feel my legs. My hands were asleep. And then she decided, hey, now that my daughter's incapacitated, maybe I should take her to the doctor. And when I went to the doctor, he basically told me that he didn't know how I was still conscious, because about 80% of the airways to my lungs were closed, and the lower half of each of my lungs was getting little to no oxygen, and that my asthma was that severe, basically. And it was horrifying to me, because I never had asthma. I had known people who had asthma, but I didn't think I could ever get it, and I wouldn't have gotten it. I was mad at my mom. Because if she had taken me to the doctor when I got bronchitis, after 6 months of coughing, this could have been avoided. And it was horrible, because I still couldn't catch my breath, and I still have problems, and that was sometime last year. And this track season is my first track season with asthma. And I run 3 events, or I do 3 events. I run 2. I do the 100-meter hurdles, the 300-meter hurdles, and I do high jump. Well, my 300-meter hurdles, I have extreme trouble with them now. The first time I ran them this season, I crossed the finish line and I collapsed because I couldn't stand, because about halfway my left arm went numb, my face went numb, my eyes went out of focus, I couldn't breathe, my legs fell asleep, I couldn't get power out of them, I couldn't move them any more than they were already moving. I crossed the finish line and I stopped and I just dropped and I couldn't get up. And they had to basically peel me off the ground, and everybody, you know, was, oh my god, are you okay, are you okay? And I didn't know the answer. It had never happened to me before. And the following meet, it happened again, but this time the coach from another team, she caught me as I was running. She let me run into her, and she caught me, and she held me, and she gave me my inhaler, because when my legs fall asleep, my arms fall asleep, and I can't breathe, I can't talk, my face is asleep, I'm not focused, I can't give myself my inhaler. And so she did that for countless meets, and I'm so grateful for her for doing that, because it was so important to me. And I'm at the point now where I don't run it because we're checking to make sure it is asthma. Because if it is asthma, there's a chance that I can do it without those episodes causing any permanent damage, because those episodes last from anywhere from a half an hour to an hour and a half. And you know, it starts with me running into her and ends with me essentially falling asleep because I'm so physically drained. I'm trying to remember what exactly I do. I run into her and I can't put my legs are always limp noodles, and the first thing she does is get your legs standing, put them down, you know, I need your help too, you have to fight it, you have to work for it. And so I've gotten slightly better at it. It's not quite as difficult for me, but I can put weight on my legs at that point and they can still hold me up. I cannot straighten them, they always buckle. And I can, after a few minutes, get myself the inhaler, but I always have to be walked off or carried off of the track, and I have to sit down and I have to drink water and I have to breathe, and I want to fall asleep and I want to lay down, and I have to have people push me up and remind me, like, you don't do that. If you do that, your heart can stop. And when all you want to do is lay down, you don't really care if your heart's going to stop because you're so exhausted you can't force yourself to sit up anymore. And you cough and you gag, and that coach's son and somebody else from my team or their team helps me walk around, and I can't move my legs right. I can't get the motion right. They always buckle, and it takes me about a half an hour to be able to walk. Just even be able to walk normally with assistance. And my words are slurred, and my brain function is slow. And so we're trying to see if it's anything. But I guess the point of this vlog is to remind parents out there that you don't know everything about your child, and when your child says something's wrong, you don't automatically assume that there's nothing wrong, because sometimes there is, and you don't want to risk permanent side effects of that just because you thought they wanted to miss school or wanted attention. There can be things wrong with your child that you can't see. And then I also wanted this vlog to tell the kids, you know, if something's wrong with you, if you can feel that something's wrong with you, even if it's not physically, even if it's psychologically, you know, you just don't feel right at all, and your parents just won't believe you, just keep pushing it, because if you feel like something's wrong, 90% of the time there is something. And sometimes parents don't want to believe that for whatever reason, and sometimes you have to make it happen yourself. you can't go to the doctor by yourself, but you can find third-party help, and just don't give up on yourself. Don't put your safety and your health at risk just because parents don't think you mean it. Make sure that they know that you mean it, because that one time that you let them, put your health on the back burner is the one time you're going to need it to be on the front more than anything. So that's it for this vlog. Comment anything that you have to say, any opinions, any advice, any experiences. I'd love to read them, assuming anybody watches my videos. Maybe I'll upload again.